And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Market Forecast. Still Monday, December the 5th. My name is John. Thanks for trusting me with your time. Hope you had a good trading day. Things changed quite a bit. Even though the economic numbers weren't supposed to be all that impactful, it wasn't the numbers that changed things. It looks like the expectation of perhaps a deeper rate hike next week. S&Ps, Dow, and the NASDAQ all closed lower. Unofficially, the S&P's down 72 points, 1.75%. The Dow down 478, down 1.3%, and the NASDAQ close to the S&P, down 204, down 1.7% also. So, yeah, we've got stocks on the heels a little bit here as that data adds worry to the possible higher rate hike next week. Factory orders came out at 1%, and the consensus was 0.7%. It doesn't seem like a lot, but just enough to kind of put a little bit of fear into the investors, and they showed that in price in the S&Ps and the equities today. Crude oil down $3 today, 3.8%, 76.93 the settlement. Something I just saw in the news today, and I don't think this is ever going to actually happen, but the U.S. has now delayed the need for the real IDs until May of 2025. Maybe they don't want us to have IDs, or our driver's license aren't good enough. Maybe we should all just get a passport and have that taken care of it, right? Good afternoon, George. Lacey has been spending a lot of time in her new dog bed. That's keeping her off the forbidden couch, which is a good thing. Bill Phillips, Spencer, good day. Man, big P&L swings today, but ended the day up almost $3,000. Nice job, Spencer. Haggle Matters, good afternoon. Traded into a pretty deep hole in the morning, but traded your way out of it. Hopefully you traded your way out of it by staying in strategy. Good afternoon, my guy Vince and Captain Price. Napping and easier days. I could use a nap right now, I think. Looking forward to the holidays and getting a little bit of time off and not worrying about the markets a little bit. We just had Thanksgiving holiday, but still, it always seems kind of refreshing to come back after the first of the year, after some time off, and really put my shoulder into the coming year. As always, if you don't mind, make sure you hit the lucky like button, share, comment, question, feedback, heckling are always welcome, as well as make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You get notified when we do go live. We're going to have tomorrow a busy day. We've got the forecast. We've got Make Hogue Money. We've got Coach's Playbook. And again, the recap at the end of the day tomorrow. So thank you for all of you that joined me for Make Hogue Money today. We didn't really have too much opportunity really near the end of the day today. We did take a trade. We ended up basically scratching it. There wasn't a lot of opportunity or movement at the end of the day there. So we just tried something. It was all right. Went against us a little bit, went our way a little bit. Basically, we scratched it. We'll see what we've got tomorrow morning for Make Hogue Money. And speaking of Make Hogue Money, next Tuesday, it's going to be at 9:30 on YouTube only. And we're going to have a special guest. Anne-Marie Band is going to be with us, the writer of the trading book, somebody who's been fan favorite in Make Hogue Money. She's going to just spend about an hour with us and see if we see any opportunities. I'm sure she'll be happy to answer any questions that folks have. And we're looking forward to that. That's a special treat for us here near the end of the year to spend a little time one-on-one with Anne Marie. And what else? Well, not much. Let's take a look at the charts and take a look at how these days finished up. Here's the daily in crude oil. Okay. We had some evidence of long liquidation on Friday and the loss of open interest. Last night we traded up to weekly kickoff high within just a couple of ticks of it, a couple of ticks through it, and we saw nothing but sellers the rest of the day today, just down, down, down. Possibly, the whole Russian cap thing, I think, had something to do with it. The fact that OPEC is not going to cut production had something to do with it. Higher interest rates probably had something to do with it. We had the dollar trade higher today by a couple of full points. So lots of things making these markets move. Here's that one time frame move from basically the open to the close, just down. We are already through our weekly kickoff low, which I purposely kept pretty tight because I was looking for some decent change in market state here in crude. We've been somewhat range bound. We're still somewhat range bound, but with the close below weekly kickoff low, with no good news, price positive news for crude oil, I'm looking for this move to continue to the downside. Of course, that can change at any time. And as we always say on the forecast and the recap, anything can happen. ACH. So here's the situation in the S&Ps. I was looking for a potential turnaround and a move to the upside. It was my primary hypothesis today. Unfortunately, that was squashed when the kind of less impactful economic data came out, but became very impactful with fears of higher rate hikes, as we've already mentioned. So I was looking for no bad news. We didn't get bad news, but what we mentioned also this morning is sometimes in this situation, it seems that good news is bad news as far as rates are concerned. So we've taken our price all the way down to this trend line. Now we've got another point of contact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of contact on this trend line. On the daily, of course, we still have, let's take a look at the continuation chart. We have now come back down below that 200 session moving average. Technically, that's probably not all that friendly. We still got a multiple touch trend line just at today's low. Here's the 30-minute chart. So the market opened largely in range and value. It ranged for quite a while, and soon as those numbers came out, the tone sort of changed. We looked for an opportunity for a long at Friday's low that actually paid us for a little while. That didn't work, and then we started one-time framing lower as soon as that information came out. So a lot of, again, fear of the rates maybe creeping back to a 75 basis point hike on next Wednesday. A lot of folks hoping for a 50 basis point increase in rates. NASDAQ still range bound. We do have some upside structure here, but it's not performing as well as the S&Ps. Take a look at the 30-minute here. Okay, the NASDAQ, we lost about 5,700 in open interest here. Looks more like short covering than long liquidation, doesn't it? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 points of contact on this trend line here. And again, it was looking for potential bull flag. Did not play out. We one time framed lower. Where did we put in our low here? Here's the regular trading hour low. Here's the extended trading hour low from Friday, the overnight session. Interesting, I think. Gold. Overnight inventory indicated a loss of open interest. Not necessarily healthy for an upside auction to experience that. I get it. It was on a Friday. There's a lot of folks probably taking some positions off. Here's the daily. Let's put the daily up here. We got to start with the daily, just because. Oh, this is the daily. Must be out of my mind. So 200 session moving average below price. How about on the continuation? Not anymore. That's it. That's the continuation. So a little bit of divergence here as far as that 200 session moving average, depending on which chart you're looking at. Here's the 30-minute chart. Where'd it go? 30. There it is. So 1809 was last week's weekly kickoff high. What was our high today? Just about 1809. Opening range left at the high of the session. Sellers in control all day long. We're relatively centrally located between weekly kickoff high and weekly kickoff low. Watch the dollar. We know the dollar took a move to the upside today. So, of course, gold and the euro took a look to the downside. Here's the gold. Here's the euro. Okay, coming off the highs of the overnight, continuing to push lower, but still very strong upside structure in this market. 1, 2, 3. Range, value, all kind of just hanging out here. Weekly kickoff low. 0295. So this is not correct. I thought I changed this. Last week's weekly kickoff low. 0295. So right about here. You got a few of them on here. What's the story there? I'll worry about that later. How about the 10-year? We talked about the 10-year was probably going to be relatively range-bound, and I believe that to be true. 1, 2, 3. Outside, inside. This market's going to be waiting to see what happens on Wednesday, this week from Wednesday. Basically, range and value relatively even. I think the opening range was probably the high there as well as the dollar continued to push higher throughout the day. And this might be a fascinating market moving forward. We have the gap. We have a day. We were looking at potential support at this swing low. Didn't quite get it. So now we've got a gap. What if this market opens higher tomorrow? That's going to be a island low. We have to see what happens. Some pretty decent volume today. Looks like we had sellers just continuing to push this market lower. If they've gotten too short, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow morning. I shut off the stream for a second there. Hopefully it's back on. There we go. Yeah, like the Ghostbusters said, don't cross the streams. I shut off the stream. Interesting thing happened in history today. 1933, the 21st Amendment is ratified and Prohibition ends. Nice, right? 1984, Beverly Hills Cop came out today. And in 1945, at 2:10, December 5th, 1945, 5 U.S. naval planes took off and disappeared into the Bermuda Triangle. They all reported that their compasses were not functioning correctly, and they just never got back. Never got back. Today's Sonny Boy Williamson's birthday. If you know who Sonny Boy Williamson is, American blues harmonica player. He played with a lot of people. He played with the Yardbirds, the Who, the Animals, Moody Blues. Little Richard's birthday is today. Jim Messina of Loggins and Messina, also he was with Buffalo Springfield. Couple of things here. In 1987, Belinda Carlisle went to #1 on the U.S. singles chart with Heaven is a Place on Earth. That's going to be about enough. So, I have a favor to ask of all of you that do come to the recap, and I appreciate you coming to the recap. What would you like to see change in the market recap next year? What can we do better? What can we look at? What can we do? Always looking to improve. If you have things that you'd like, things that you want to see, or things that bug you, please let me know. Jay Hoagland, JHOAGLAND @topstep.com. Always looking to improve and give you more of what you want, and that's market information, right? All right, let's get a good night's sleep. Spencer, when you're going over the charts, take a look at the market profile. That I can do. That I do sometimes, especially when there's something in the profiles that I think is really important. And pretty much every day there's something in the profiles that we do find important. So that's a great suggestion, Spencer. We will do that. Maybe we start off with the profiles. How about that? I like that idea. It's my tool. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Thank you. But if anything comes to mind, don't hesitate to tell me. You know, I'm a trader. I've been around the block a few times. I can take a punch. If there's anything that's bugging you, anything you want to see, just make sure you let me know. I want the dog to get her own pattern, her own camera. Thank you, Haggle Matters, very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Just give it some thought. JD, evaluating how to successfully target days such as this and what may have been on people's minds to cause this to happen. Retrospective analysis. It's really important, I think, for a trader to kind of act as a archaeologist, if you will, looking back to see what happened. You know, this today, like I mentioned, JD, I couldn't have targeted a day like this. Matter of fact, my main hypothesis had us kind of range bound or looking in the other direction. We were looking at some economic numbers, but they weren't going to be highly impactful. But what I didn't take into effect was the fact that those numbers were going to affect investors and traders alike. Everything seems to be about interest rates these days, right? So any good economic numbers that come out are viewed as a threat to higher Interest rates. We've been talking about that for 2 weeks. I mentioned it this morning on the forecast where, if we don't have any bad news, the S&Ps have a tendency just to kind of grind to the upside. But lately, good news is bad news. And that's exactly what happened today. We had a couple of economic numbers come out better than expected. And all of a sudden, the market starts tanking because of fear of higher rates. Oh, good, Haggle Matters. I didn't know if anybody noticed that. I got these little icicles up there. Those were hanging above the bar in my parents' house where I grew up. I took them because I remember them and I love them, and they're 60 years old and they're probably fire hazards, but I do love them, and I'm glad you saw the Santa hat on Croce, my guy. I'll probably throw a few more things up there as the holidays come closer, but everybody, thank you very much for the thoughts, your ideas, anything that comes to mind. Please email me again, jhoagland, JHOAGLAND @topstep.com. Get a good night's rest. Take it easy tonight, and we'll see you on the forecast tomorrow morning. Blessings to you all. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and say a prayer for peace. See you in the morning. Woof.